Step into the light where the wild ones roam, where the heart speaks loud, calling this place home. We break the rules, we paint the sky, ridiculously you. We were born to fly. Ooh, it's ridiculously you.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ridiculously You podcast. I'm your host, Julie May, and I'm excited about our guest for today. If you have ever felt like you were too much, too emotional, too intuitive, too loud, too colorful, today's guest is here to flip the script on that and hand you a mirror that says you are just right. Her name is Tina Kapp-Kailea. She is a multiple best-selling author, award-winning embodiment coach, international speaker. But more than that, she is a truth teller, space holder, possibility agent for women ready to break the hell out of the boxes they were told to stay in. With that, welcome, Tina. And can you share with us just a little bit more about you?
Hello and good afternoon where you are. I'm coming to you from New Zealand, from the future, so I'm on the other side of the globe. Excited to be here. The minute I saw the title of the podcast, I go, ooh, yes, that's me. I'm here to be an agitator and disruptor, and my journey in life has not always been bold and colorful the way you see me today. For a lot of years, I've tried to fit in, do all the nice things, and realized at 45 that this was not going to be my trajectory. And there's a bit of a story in there, but I love women playing full out, and I think something happens when we sort of go through our 50s. I turned 51 this year and decided I'm going to do my next decade unapologetic. Because whatever little filter there was, that's gone completely. And as a speaker and embodiment coach, I want more women to be courageous. I changed the title on my business card to Unapologetic Wild Woman. And rewilding, especially in the workplace, can be done, and it takes courage. And I'd like to be the Pied Piper for so many wild and wonderful women who are actually going to go and take life by the balls and go, you know what? I'm just getting started. So that's a bit about me.
I love that. So you say it was right around age 45 when you were like, screw this. Like, let's go out. Was there like a series of events, or did you just wake up and one day and be like, the hell have I been doing? Because I think I was about the same age. I'm 49 now, so we're very similar aged. And I'm just like, I'm all out of F's to give. It is time to just be like full out, all me. There's something beautiful about this age. I tell you what, people like scared me off of getting older. I'm like, getting older is the best thing of all time. It's so
I know.
great.
I know. The body might start creaking and doing funky stuff, but it's a rite of passage. And I think when you look at the more serious side of things, there is an eldership and community holder, because let's face it, we're outliving men. We live a lot longer, and we can do it colorful and loud and enjoying life. And starting a business at in my late 40s, or my third business, there's nothing really that can stop us. And 45 for me was when I'm a martial artist. I started karate late in life. I wish I would have done this in my teens or early 20s when the body was still a little more willing. But I actually got a black belt at 45, and I'd done it in Japan. And that set something in motion in me where you go, well, if I can do that against all the odds and whatever societal things come on you. And I think the biggest enemy as women is we put the restrictions on ourselves, which is my body of work, to really look at where have you been perpetuating stories that are not your own. So 45 was that pivot point, me getting my black belt. But the journey up to that point was basically what I've written my book about. Corporate rewilding was my journey, where I wanted to, climb the career ladder. I was a general manager of an international publishing house, male-dominated industries, and I realized that I was so much in my masculine energy and do, go, go, harden up, all the things, that I forgot who I was as a woman. And it was the GFC. I had a narcissistic boss. It's a bit of a cluster. I had my body make that decision for me that something had to change. And I had depression, anxiety, adrenal fatigue, which 15 years ago wasn't as well known as today. And sadly, the result of that lifestyle, when on the outside everything looked dandy, was losing five babies, five miscarriages.
Wow.
And when I came to grips with that, I was participating and perpetuating a lifestyle and I guess, societal expectation on what the career woman looks like, ticking all the boxes, having all the things, keeping up with the Joneses. I realized that that's one part as females we can't control. Our hormones, our fertility. And I didn't realize just how much that constant stress and cortisol level that I was living under, what that was doing to me, to my fertility, to my mental health. And the universe dropped me on a great big stone and go, okay, you sift through whatever's left and see what comes out the other end. So that journey started probably a decade earlier, from when I got that black belt at 45. But that period of my life was the reclamation of who I am now. And everything that I've done in my work in my business and putting myself out there as a speaker, writing that book and not being scared of telling my story, that was my trajectory, and here I am today. And I like to say to women, if something feels out of alignment, especially when you reach that midlife point, don't ever think it's too late. You
Mm.
can change your entire trajectory, and that may have some collateral damage. It can be moving to another country, change of careers. Sometimes it's divorce or complete cutting off of old friendships that don't serve you, or force you to show up in a way that you're not here to do great things. So that's been the journey and that point.
Hmm. What do you think are some things you used to care about that you just don't care about anymore? Things that used
What
to
are
be like consuming to you that you're just like, why?
my appearance
Yeah.
and judgment of people. My story was one of not ever feeling good enough, and that comes back to a story when I was a child. My father told me when I was off to the pools when I was about 7, you need to suck your stomach and you're getting a gut. So that self-belief that you're too fat,
Mm.
too big, too curvy, too everything, that was a belief I really anchored in at that point. And my dad didn't mean to hurt me.
Oh no.
It was just not the sporty ideal that he put amongst on the family. And to some degree, my mother was subjected to the same thing, which took a lot of courage to actually own that and realize. But it actually was traumatic because you think of trauma as something a lot more severe. And I wish I would have given less cahoots what people think about me a lot earlier in my life. And now it's like if I want to run around with pink and neon sneakers, who am you to tell me that I can't? And that's part of my branding, being too loud, embodying who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I do like heavy metal music. I do like horses. I do a lot of different things. I'm a beekeeper. I also do martial arts. You can be all of those. And you don't, I'm not hanging those roles or these passions at the door when I go to a business meeting. And as a business owner, you have a little more freedom than perhaps in corporate. But I had a speaker coach tell me when I said I want to speak to women in corporate, and he took one look at me and goes, "Well, you can't wear a pink jacket and pink sneakers." I go, "Well, that's my brand." And he goes, "Well, they're not going to take you serious." And I said, "That is exactly what I'm here to disrupt, that belief that we can't. Where does it say that if we wear a pink jacket, we can't land a big contract? Or if we menopausal or hormonal or PMSy or pregnant, that we ruin someone's business empire?" I think
Yeah.
that's the underlying theme of the pandemic. We've proven that we can be trusted when we work from home. And when we're actually honoring our other roles that no one takes care of, like being a mother, aging parents, all the things, we can do just as many big things than others. We just do it in a different time flow. And this is that freedom, that rewilding, returning yourself to a more natural state. That means we're up and down. That's just the way we are. We're cyclical beings. Why not embrace it and get a seat at the table?
Exactly. So what have you found the truth is? Because you were told, okay, you got to go in the uniform. I remember like when I first started speaking, and I first started speaking like 11 years ago, and they told me, okay, this is the uniform. You've got to wear like these kind of heels, and you want like a like a navy or a black pencil skirt, little jacket that matches, and then like a neutral colored shirt. And then that's like the speaker uniform. You will look professional everywhere you go. Like I did not fit in this box at all from the beginning. Like I think I tried it for like 6 months and then I was like, I cannot with this. So when you come out and you're in your leopard print and your pink sneakers, what have you actually found the truth is? Have you found many doors that were like, yeah, because of your pink jacket, we shall not have you in? Or like, what have you found the truth is?
No, I have had the opposite effect. And to put it into context, New Zealand is a small Pacific nation tucked at the bottom of the world, and but most people know us for the Hobbit, for the All Blacks rugby team. I mean, there is certain things, but what we have here, even though we are a country of innovators and we have done great things, there is something they call tall poppy syndrome. And I'm an immigrant here. I came from Germany, moved here 25 years ago, so
Okay.
I'm not native. And I've worked in my career in very many other cultures, America being one of them. And I know that you can be as loud and over the top as you want to be, and no one is ever going to tell you your dream is a little too big. While as here, people look at you and going, well, why are you aspiring to go to Australia or overseas? That's a bit daring. And they try and pin you back a notch. So I've made the decision very early on. You said, you know what? If I'm too big for this place, I'm going to make it overseas first, and then they'll find me to speak on their stage here. And because in America, I've been on a summit, and Lisa Nichols was on there, David Fagan, a couple of the bigger names.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've worked a lot with David.
and then out of a sudden, I show up in my pink jacket, and
Yeah.
sure enough, on when you have the speaker images on the collateral material, and it's like there's the pink jacket, and it sticks out.
Yeah.
And same with the sneakers. I've done 20 years of karate. Nothing ruins your feet and nails like that. I don't do heels anymore. And I would look like an actor on stage if I don't let my personality come through. And people associate that with me and they're fine with it. And this is the whole point of letting your brand shine through. If it is the big earrings and the flamboyant colors, you own that. But if it's when you're trying to use it to be the peacock with a feather you just stick on, that's when it feels weird. And that's when the audience start to notice, oh, that's a bit off because they're not feeling you because you're not
Mm.
yourself. And
Let's talk
I
about that because there is a term in the industry called peacocking where you're like you're dressing loud just to be noticed. You're doing it just to be seen and it's not necessarily authentically you. It's just like I'm going to wear the loud jacket and the loud this and the be that just so people I'm being the pattern interrupter, the disruptor, which there's something to being a pattern interrupt. I do talk a lot about that, but I'm like there's a difference between that and dressing up because that is so much a part of you that doing anything else would feel ridiculous. So,
yeah.
can we talk about that a little bit? How do you see the difference between kind of like this peacocking just to be seen and this self expression that's like, I don't know how else to be because this is exactly who I am?
It's called embodiment, and this is my this is I could talk about it all day, every day. When you embody who you are and you really own and back yourself, it there's no delineation between your speaker persona or your work persona and how you show up privately. I walk around in bright pink neon things when I'm walking. I tend to not wear a lot of makeup when I'm out and about. I do live horses, so when I show up on my socials, often it's in the morning in a bathrobe when I have no makeup on and my hair still in a bun, because that's also part of me. I'm very woo-woo and spiritual in my practices, and I show up because it's part of who I am. And it's when we try and act out, and this is why I burned out in corporate, because I felt like I had to be perfect, put together, tick all the boxes, and there couldn't be a hair out of place because I would be seen as not competent if I
Mm-hmm.
do anything different or attract too much attention, because I still felt not wanting to be seen and rather hiding and sitting at the back of the meeting room table rather than every eye on me. And I think that not giving a cahoot what people think of you or if you're judged. There is a beautiful, I think it's actually a book. It's you need to have the courage to be disliked. You're not everyone's cup of
Mm-hmm.
tea. And I think if we're trying to, and whether that's socials, your branding, however you show up, you try and please everybody, you are jack of all trades and master of none. So just show up the way you do. I go live on rock concerts. I love them. It's part of who I am. So when
Yeah.
I go on stage or I speak or I do stuff, I often use metal music because that is intrinsically me. Some people do dub sutra and the odd pop thing. For me, it's like I'm a metal girl, man. So it's part of my brand. And so I've got earrings that are lightning bolts or whatever tickles my fancy, or a Metallica t-shirt under my jacket. That's me. Deal with it. And if I'm not your cup of tea, just unfollow me. Don't come to my talk. Don't hear me speak. But I love being that trigger because for such a long time, I was that woman who also looked at other women and said, "Oh, who does she think she is? And she's
Mm.
not this. And how can she possibly come to a business meeting in a frilly dress, even though there was a jacket overseas?" And it's our triggers that usually point out to us where we are not being honest with ourselves, what we truly desire. And I
Mm.
love being that. And I can see women on in the audience sometimes look me up and down and go, this, and no, she's not as I see her, and she doesn't do Botox, and she lets her hair go gray. So I'm going, so what? But I can tell you because you actually wish you could show up a little bit more like me. And this is why there's a trigger moment. And I love playing with it because when you accept that, that's when you can make some breakthroughs and where you can come out of your shell a bit more and your audience will love you for it.
Absolutely. I also think too, this is one of the things I teach my business clients all the time is when you start having people that really are kind of like haters, they dislike you very much, you're actually probably on a really good path because it shows people exactly who you are. It allows the people who really are going to just like totally get you to really find you and to be like you're more and more authentic. And when there's people who really just don't like that, it's like, cool, I'm being more clear with my message, I'm being more clear with who I am, and allowing people to feel like they can just be like, yeah, I don't love that, I don't like pink hair, I don't like this, I don't like that, whatever, right? When you first start having those I don't like this person thing, I always tell people like it means you're on the right path because
I
it's
know.
helping people find you who really are going to get you. When you're it's that lukewarmy thing. You don't want to be lukewarm. You don't want to be
No, I'm
like
not beige.
so vanilla, so beige that nobody knows who you are and what you stand for and whatever. Like that's not a way to be. And if you're going to be a business person, we should talk about it in business. If you're going to be a business person, you should be really clear on who you are, who you serve, and exactly what that target looks like and how you present you to the world in that. Like, how do you be like your best expression? And one of my favorite things you just said is being the same you at home, at the grocery store, on stage, like everywhere you go. If people are like, if you are you everywhere and people get to experience that, there's a just so much bigger level of trust that your audience builds with you. And it's exhausting to just go out and act all the time. Like, oh,
I
now I
know.
have to go on stage. Let's put on my stage persona. Oh, now I'm going here. Let's put on church persona. Oh, now I'm with family. Let's put on family persona. It's exhausting. I think that's where like a lot of that adrenal fatigue comes from, is like these different faces and these different interactions we have with people where it's like trying to be all these not real versions of yourself and trying to remember what the rules are for this room. No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
I'm just not
Yeah,
going to
because it also then triggers some I guess a fear of being found out that you're not
Oh, yeah.
how your Instagram reel looks like. And imagine if people see you like this all the time and then you start coaching them. I mean, we all have things where you go, you know what, coaching is a great thing. It's trusting, it's holding space. You don't have to show up in your best form. There's some really deep stuff that we're getting to get into. I don't want to have someone show up in my space and they go, oh, she's a very different from. So I bought this and now I'm getting this. It's like it's false advertising. It's the package on the outside does not match the contents on the inside.
Yeah.
And
And
that's not good for business and for how you show up because you only
yeah.
need to do it once or twice. Word gets around and that it's your reputation, but not from a trying to keep a reputation up. It's just this is me. This is what you get. What you see is what you get. There's no trap doors, no false bottom. we all here, because then it gives others this permission to actually show up like that as well. And then we can be honest that we're not all having our stuff together. I'm a huge advocate for that collaboration is the new domination. And in business, women are still competing. They're still elbowing each other out of the way because that's so conditioned into us. If we would just, lock arms and go, imagine the big things we can do. We're wired for community. No one can ever be me, and I can never be you. So why don't we just accept that and ground it? Even if we have 10 embodiment coaches in one room, there's a flavor for everybody. So I find it really baffling that in this day and age, we're still having this old, wounded competitiveness and putting each other down.
Yeah. What do you think that stems from? What's the underlying problem there that people are trying to fix or resolve through this competitiveness?
In my woo-woo capacity, I hold somatic space a lot, and I think there is an epigenetic lineage we all carry. If you look at the conditioning of women in the last 100 years, and then you go back in the ages, it goes actually back through the sister wounding and the witch wounding, because for a lot of times it wasn't safe for us to have an opinion. It wasn't safe for us to stand up for others even. We were actually pinned to call each other out. And because this whole societal thing, even before social media started, there was magazines and airbrushing, we've been told to be a certain way. And I think this is the biggest part to break through in your life for yourself. And maybe 50 is that magical point where you go, you know what? I've got X amount of years on this planet left if I'm lucky. Let's just ignore what I've lived into for the first part of my life, because the wild little girl, our formative years are probably around about up until year 7. Everything that we observe, that's said to us, that we feel and experience, that creates a set of rules that we want to live and adhere by. Layer on top, society, family, culture, then comes school. So for a lot of women, you're intrinsically not good enough. You're supposed to be seen and not heard. Be the nice girl, be the lady, look a certain way, pluck this, paint that, dye your hair. And then with age comes another set. Botox, all the things. And it's a personal choice. But I always say, ask yourself why you think you have to do these things. I'm not judging any of these decisions. You can be whoever you want and whatever you want to do. But imagine if women would wake up tomorrow and all felt good enough. There would be whole industries going downhill because we're actually coming back to our worth, regardless of what that looks like on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love nail polish. I do love makeup. But I don't have to do it all the time, and I'm not doing it to adhere to anything. I do it because I really feel like I'm going to wear pink lipstick today, because that's me.
Yeah. I think one of the misnomers people get when they watch a lot of my content is I talk about like being the most ridiculous version of yourself and really self-love and all of this and expressing that on the outside. And they think it needs to look a certain way. It needs to be wild and bright and whatever. And I'm like, no, for some people, it's embracing their gray. For some people, it's saying, I don't like makeup. I'm going to go out plain face. And for some people like me, it's like, I dress like this a lot of the time, but additionally, you'll see a lot of video of me right outside of the gym where I have no makeup, my hair's in a ponytail, and I haven't, dyed it in 3 months. So it's because we are multifaceted people. And when I love me and I have overcome as much of the trauma as I can, and you love you, then I can see you through the lens of a healed person. And I can go, okay, because I've learned to love and appreciate me, I can love and appreciate you as a complete whole individual and go, we're all on this journey together of figuring out our paths. All of us have our way of self-expressing, and there's not really a right or wrong way to do it. It's what feels good to you right now in this moment, and doing that and being okay with it and being like, yeah, this is me right now. And that's exactly who I wanted to be right now.
Yeah. It
And
takes courage, though.
It does take a lot of courage.
It also takes people like you and I to be the Pied Piper of that, to go, you know what, you don't have to do this on your own. And part of when I was going through these miscarriages, I was angry because why is no one speaking about this? I felt trapped by the medical profession because you don't tell anyone, that safe 12-week mark. So I was set up to keep this on the inside. You certainly do not tell your corporate HR department that you're expecting a baby when you are holding a role in a global financial crisis in advertising and media. So what you do is you're trapped on the inside. And when I lost those babies, I had to show up pretending nothing had happened, not even flinch.
Wow.
So the trauma that I actually kept under wraps because I felt like I had to, eventually that's what's caused a lot of the extra stress on top of everything else. Because I felt being vulnerable as a woman, especially when it comes to, the female things, whether it's your period, menopause, hormones, infertility, all those things, it makes us feel like there's no place for that in this masculine work structure in the corporate arena because there's no place for it, which means we have to give part of our whole makeup, the way we are wired, the way we operate from a nervous system and body function perspective, and pretend none of that exists. That is exhausting. Then we become mothers who go to work. I was one of those too. I had 3 months maternity leave, and then I was having an office with a sign. I was expressing. My husband did his stint for having some time off, and all I really wanted is being with a stroller out in the park and walking with my 3 months old instead of looking at spreadsheets and damping the next crisis. So you, for some reason, try and suppress that mothering because we feel like we have to perform a certain way. We can't possibly, have a stain on our collar or not being put together. So I think women perform all these roles because we feel there's no place in corporate. So I'm really here to challenge everybody that is personifying corporate. Have you actually looked at why you are thinking you have to perpetuate? And that goes to some of the men, because let's face it, we're still underrepresented in the actual middle and upper management for exactly those reasons. Now, those men are all, most of them, they have a family and they're married. So I always say to them, well, imagine your wife would be in a business with you. Would you do the same to your own wife, considering everything that goes on at home? Just because you have a female employer that doesn't contribute to the bottom line or is perceived to, or just because she's not in the office as many times. So it's time to challenge that because we are burning out at a higher rate than men. And I feel a bit like a ninja behind enemy lines because I've lived in that world for so long. I tried to perpetuate all the things, learned the hard way what it can do to you. So if I can just change the mindset of any woman that sits in that corner office thinking that she can't possibly flinch to show vulnerability, I tell you, vulnerability and compassion is your superpower. It makes you inherently female. And if you're looking at the current state of the world, when you look at politics, if we had more female leaders, do we really think we would be dealing with the magnitude of things without going into detail? No, we would actually act a lot more different because we are different. And we can bring a lot to any corporate and political arena if we trust that we can be female. And that is way beyond a dress or a pink jacket. This is actually us owning those female qualities that we bring to a table, that we do in our community and in the family, because we think differently and we act differently.
How do you think we could bring that into corporate America? Like, say you're in marketing and advertising in very male dominated industries that are like very bottom line. We've got to make our sales. We got to get these projections. How do you think they could bring in more of like a female perspective besides hiring more women? Is there a way we could like have the expectations different where there was like flows and cycles with things, where there was maybe more time during more productive times of your cycle? I mean, what is there that they can do? What would you like to see happen?
What I would like to see, and if I could get a magic wand and go, poof, this is what we're doing now, I would actually allow workplaces where we're getting rid of that hierarchy structure and have more of a community round King Arthur's round table situation where rather than doing 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, Monday to Friday, or 4-day work week, why don't we just allow this flexible work thing to look like in a way that maybe once or twice a month, there's 2 days where someone goes, you know what, I am actually not feeling well. I want to be a bit more reclusive. Let me plan my time as long as the bottom line is still there, because at the end of the day, I still work the same amount of time in my own business. But the way I structure my business is vastly different because I have not this 9 to 5 window. I can break for lunch and sit in the sun and cook myself something healthy rather than going down to the 7-Eleven on the corner and grab something and sit at my desk while typing emails. I think we, yes, we're all trading time for money, but that's because that's the status quo. I think the biggest step is, rather than those token women's group in big corporations or the tick box that we've got a quota, I think it comes down to women collaborating and really coming into communion with each other.
Mm.
Because if we stop competing with each other while the men go out and, shoot bear and go to the golf course and have a long lunch, they don't really get and go, oh, we've got to have to get back to the office. We still feel we have to be 120% more perfect, more effective, and more professional. We don't. But have we actually, did we have the courage to have that voice to actually table that as an idea? Or have we just gone, well, that's just too outrageous. That's never going to fly, considering we're in a recession, this and that. But there's little steps. It starts by owning your worthiness and by actually standing tall and having presence and then articulating what it is that you want with a plan behind it. If you
Mm.
have got, I don't know, 10 women in middle management in a big corporation, where are the meetings that they're having maybe outside of work to discuss some of those things? Are they in different silos? Are they even having an open conversation? Or are they just passing each other's offices on the way to the individual, fighting that they have to do to be a woman in their particular field? So I think it is up to us to take that sword up to go, you know what? No, I'm going to do some boundaries. I'm going to come up with an idea, but I'm going to back it up with data, with research, and come up with a solution and see, why don't we trial this? Because when we are in our flow and we're all up there, you could have 16 meetings a day and you're not feeling out of sync with anything. Does it really matter that I'm going to go home at 3, pick up my child from school, can be there for homework, cook a meal, and then once the little one is in bed, I'm going to go back online and do another 2 or 3 hours of whatever I feel it needs to be done for that day. But give us the choice to have that flexibility. I think that's what came out of the pandemic. We don't have to
Yeah.
be locked to a desk from 9 to 5 to do the same amount of work. But we still feel like, well, if I don't prove I've done 40 hours, then I leave myself open to having a salary cut, or, someone is trying to question whether I can do my job and my workload. Why don't we challenge these systems and dissolve some of that hierarchy pyramid structure and come to a round table as a community? I,
Mm.
I can assure you that productivity and outcome and staff happiness and all those things, they would flourish.
It totally would. So
It's not an
that's what it
easy
would
thing
look
to do.
like corporately. What about for an individual? Let's say I'm sure we have a bunch of listeners out there that are in that. I'm in the job. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. I feel like there's so much pressure. You talk about rewilding and that kind of a concept. How can we help that individual who's like, they don't even know what to do? They're like, they've been stuck in the box so long. All they know is this is not working for me. What tips can you give this beautiful soul out there to help them just like find themselves, rewild themselves, have their self-expression back, even know what their expression looks like? They probably don't even remember or connect to who they are. It's like they've forgotten. I remember being kind of in those places. So yeah.
You touched on a big word, remembering. We need to be brutally honest when we get to this point, because deep down, I knew all along that something wasn't right. But because I was so busy, sometimes we distract ourselves because we don't want to face our inner landscape. And I feel shadow work or looking at the stuff that is not so pretty, that you're repeating patterns that are not good for you, but you're kind of stuck and you go, you know what, it's just me. I think you have to be prepared to really look at your own shit to go, yeah, see, I know I shouldn't be having 3 glasses of red wine each night and then I'm not sleeping. My hormones are all over the thing. It's being prepared to have that honesty with yourself. Then the second one is stillness. And I'm not talking sitting cross-legged and trying to meditate. Make some space where you have got a boundary where you go, I really need to be with myself for a while. And when you look back at that childhood, remember those times when you were doing something you really loved and you lost track of all time, whether it was drawing or playing or crafting, and all of a sudden you go, oh my God, the sun's going down, it's dinner time. It's those moments where we can lose ourselves in the moment that are few and far between. And this is not the me time or the hair appointment or the massage we may be able to go through in, but make some time for yourself. So my biggest thing is try and look at your mornings and your evenings, because that's often, if we're busy mothers and all the things, that's usually the time where we have got at least a little bit of time to come back to what really works for you. So in the morning, and if you can, try and get back into your circadian rhythm. That was a game changer for me, not to set an alarm. And over time, I started waking up the same time regardless. So I'm not late, even if I would have had to go to work. Uh, it's changed the game. So in the mornings, I don't go straight on my phone. I actually have it on flight mode and put it so it's not on my nightstand.
Great
I
tip.
spend time just waking up and just feeling into my body to go, okay, well, what's happening? Did I dream about anything? How am I feeling? Am I energized? Am I still a little bit tired? I put my hand on my chest and one on my belly and I breathe. Breath work is a big deal to try and regulate your nervous system. And I just imagine my day in my head on what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use the best possible version. Because by the time I go, okay, well, now I'm going to get up, I'm not rushed, I'm not darting all over the show. And because I've already imagined my day, I'm going to have the perfect meeting, I'm going to have this and that, I'm less likely to get frazzled and off track. And then in the evening, I do the same thing. Before I go to sleep, I check in with myself, how was the day? And I give gratitude to, and I know this sounds like a cliche, but actually not focusing on everything that's gone wrong in your day and focusing on something that was really good before you go to sleep, that is a big deal. And if you have a chance, I mean, most of us, that vacation time when you do slot it in, sometimes we get sick on vacation because it's the first time our body actually goes, whoo, what's happening here? I'm actually still, I'm sleeping in, I'm not racing. Yes, people still check emails while they're on vacation, they still take their phones. But how many times have people gone on a vacation and they start to get a sniffly nose or a headache because the body goes, what is this? I'm out of my general thing. Uh, it's that stillness, because then that voice, the voice we've pushed down, has a chance to actually go and tell us, you know what, you're actually hating your job. I used to get this ping in my stomach when at 4 o'clock in the morning I used to startle out awake, and then I would think straight about my job and my boss. What is he going to do today? And I was sometimes going, that ping when the inbox goes, oh, that's the agenda, and I have to go into this meeting. That's when I should have listened to go, well, why are you still in this job? I honestly felt like I had no choice because the bills had to be paid. It was a GFC, all those things. If my biggest question when I was looking at my own shadows at that time was, if I had gone out of that job earlier and I would have listened to my inner voice in my body, would I have carried one of those pregnancies to full term? So that was a hard nut and a hard thing to swallow and look at that. There's a possibility. I had to make peace with it. But that's what made me even more passionate to really educate women. I don't care how busy you are and what you do, you have choices. It starts with that decision. because I can tell you what can happen to you. It's illness or your body shuts down in one way or the another, and it's not a pretty journey. So if I can help them see the signs earlier and make some of those changes, then that's my job done on this world.
I love that. And it is for a woman, and you can have any political view you want. I think it is the greatest time to be a woman, basically in recorded history almost, because we do have a choice right now. I'm from the United States. Women we could not have our own bank account until 1975, I think. The
Yes.
70s. You couldn't even have a bank account unless you were married and your husband approved and signed on the line here. Like
Mm-hmm.
the things that have not been available until like our generation really are astounding. But right now, we have more choice and more availability and more power to do things than pretty much any time in history. And what a beautiful gift it is to be able to go, and we are going to be the ones who change the trajectory of how our ancestors did things. We are going to start a new way of doing things so that society and generations after us can look to, Tina's example here and go, holy cow, because Tina did this, now we have all these other opportunities. Okay.
And doing it together.
Together. And that's like the new way of doing things. Like you said before, women in the past have been super competitive with each other. Together is the new way of doing things. I'm going to move you into a quick lightning round. You've shared so much. I want to get to know just Tina a little bit more. Your favorite thing to wear, like if you had to choose anything to wear today that you were like, this is going to make me feel the most powerful, the most sexy, the most amazing. What's your favorite thing to wear?
It will be a jeans, denim all the way.
Denim
And
all the
some
way.
comfy, colorful sneakers.
What's your favorite color of sneakers right now? Are they pink?
Hot pink.
Hot pink. Okay. What's your favorite kind of woo-woo ritual that you do most frequently? Like you need to get grounded. What's your favorite little woo-woo thing to do?
I do dark sauna ritual. I have a finished sauna in my backyard. I have an ice bath, and I go
Mm,
and do this with the full moon and the new moon. So I do intention setting, purge whatever is happening and what I'm releasing on a spiritual, then a physical, and do something good for my nervous system while we're at it.
fantastic. What is your idea of a fun night? You're gonna do something, you're gonna have a fun night, you're just at home, you're hanging, you're like, we're gonna have a fun night. What does it look like?
It looks like actually my circle sisters ecstatic dance, something
Oh,
witchy and woo-woo under the moon. That would be my ideal thing now.
yeah. Fun, fun, fun. Okay. Favorite books?
Oh, there's a lot of them. Khalil Gibran, The Prophet. It's one book that I had for several decades. It's poetry.
Mhm.
I also like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh, yes.
One of my
Good one.
favorites. I don't read a lot of fiction, but anything travel related. Any person that traveled backpacked off the beaten path. Those are my favorites.
Favorite place you've ever been? You talked about travel. What's your favorite place you've ever been?
Tahiti.
Tahiti. What makes it magical?
Just the whole thing. It's been a dream of mine since I was a little girl. I used to live in Germany and rip all the pages out of the travel books and put it on there. And I used to tell my grandma, one day I'll go and get to Tahiti. It's just encapsulated everything I ever dreamed of. The coconuts, palm trees, the white lagoons. I'm a huge fan of diving. Blue is my favorite color. So yeah, that was an absolute vibe standing on the shores of Tahiti
Mm,
finally.
I love that. Okay. You have one final message for our audience. What do they need to know today?
Go and step out of your comfort zone. The fear is showing you where you need to go. And if you have the courage to be honest with what you really desire in life, go after it with both. Grab it and do it anyway. And feel the fear, do it anyway.
Love
It's never
that.
too late.
Okay. Feel the fear, do it anyway. This has been Tina Kappkailea. This is Julie May, your host of the Ridiculous You podcast. I'm so excited that you guys joined us for this one. Thank you, Tina, so much for joining us from New Zealand. Like, how stinking cool is that? I love that. Keep sharing your message. Can you share with them where to find your book and where to find you?
You can find the book on Amazon. It's called Corporate Rewilding, A Wild Woman's Guide to Reclaiming Your Feminine Power. You can find me at fempreneurpathfinder.com or on Instagram at _fempreneur. And that's femme like femme fatale.
Beautiful thing. Thank you so much, Tina.
Thank you for having me. And hara mai, as they say here in New Zealand.
Share the spark, take it higher. Hit subscribe, bring a friend. Let the wildness never end.